So in this we will be discussing what is IAM and what are the features of it and what are the benefits and what is multi-factor authentication and what are the factors of form of it and the security credentials temporary and permanent and how to manage permissions and policies and roles, federation, users, groups, and how to access the AWS service through IAM that we will be discussing today. So I'll be having a quick PowerPoint presentation, and after that we will be going with again a bit of explanation, and once it is done we'll be going for the lab. So this identity and access management enables us to securely control access to AWS services. Is nothing but IAM controls the access to AWS resources. AWS resources are nothing but the AWS services, whatever the services that are there, like almost 56 services are there, right? So the total services will be secured by means of IAM. So what we will be having, we have users and groups. So IAM, we will be creating the users and groups and assigning roles to them. So assign permissions to allow and deny their access to AWS resources. So that we will be having through IAM. So it is a web service and that enables these AWS customers to manage users and user permissions in AWS. So that service is targeted with multiple users in the cloud. That AWS products such as EC2, RDS, and some of the other services through management console. And we can centrally manage users and we have security credentials such as access keys and permissions. We have not only the keys but also we will be having username and password for to access this particular IAM. So 100% free. IAM is free to use. AWS IAM is a feature of AWS account. So no additional charge will be there. We will be charged only for use of other AWS products by our IAM users. If at all you are giving security through authentication and authorization to whatever EC2. So whatever EC2 platform you are using, for that only you will be charging. So the features are nothing but shared access to throughout the AWS account. Like you have so many services within your account, so you can have shared access among them. So we grant other people permission to administer and use resources in our AWS account without sharing our password and access key. How we will be doing? So we will be giving, we'll be creating the users and creating the groups, assigning the users to the groups and assigning role to the group. So whoever the user is there in that group will be having the access. So we have a granular permission. Another feature is granular permission. Granular permission is nothing but within the same group. Different resources they can access. We can grant different permissions to each of them. For each user we can. So I have given an example over here. For example, we might allow some users for complete access to Amazon EC2 and S3 and RDS and AWS product. And for other users, we can give read-only access, just some S3 buckets, permission to administer EC2 instances. That's all. Nothing but to some users we can give full access, to some users only read only, or to some users only write. So like that you can give different permissions for different resources for different users. That we call it as granular permission. Granular permission is nothing but giving the permission at micro level. So we have a secure access to AWS resources by means of MFA. MFA is nothing but multi-factor authentication. We can add two-factor authentication. For example, we have given username and password. By means of that, we entered. And again, one key, uh, a key should be given. That key will be provided by a device or something RSA device, which will be given by the AWS itself. So if at all you go for MFA, if you fill up this MFA form, they will be sending that RSA key device, and this RSA key device will be having some, for every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, a number will be coming, and it will a number, a new unique, according to the algorithm, a number will be generated, and along with your username and password, if you give that key specially from specially configured device, then you will be entering into it. So whenever you are opting for MFA, that is chargeable. That charge will be only for the device, not for the security that they are giving. So hope you understood. Apart from username and password, you need to give the key by means of a device which will be sending by AWS. Another scenario is identity federation. The federation scenario is nothing but we will be having the different types of security. Like we can allow users who already have passwords elsewhere, so that we can federate to our AWS environment. Like I have a Google account, and I just want to have AWS environment, and I don't want to create a new user and password, or I don't want to fill up a registration form to create an account. Simply, I can federate my existed account to here, so that it will be taking the username and password, allowing AWS environment. So identity federation, nowadays, most of the people are utilizing, and this AWS is having a better and strong federated scenarios for their AWS environment. And identity information for assurance is like nothing but, if we use AWS CloudTrail or something, we receive log records that include information about those who made requests for those in our account. That information is based on IAM identities. So by means of IAM, we will be creating users and groups and roles. So if at all you do anything, it captures. If at all you install CloudTrail, CloudTrail is a service which logs the information which you have opted for. If you opt for certain log files like application scenarios, or how application is running, so whoever access that application at what time, timestamp and username, and what had happened, that action part will be logged under CloudTrail. So this will be happened because of IAM, because through IAM only they will be entering. So IAM supports us to provide the logs. We have enhanced security, obviously. So IAM enables security best practices by allowing us to grant unique security credentials to users and groups, and to specify which AWS service APIs and resources we can access. So how we will be separating our users to access AWS services and resources by means of roles. So after this PPT, we will be discussing in a clear-cut manner, but try to understand. We'll be having a temporary credentials. For example, one administrator, we are the DevOps team, and the testing person has asked me to give the permission to one of our environment. What we will be doing, we will be creating username and password in a traditional manner. If I give them, so that will be accessed if by means of that username and password, we can access for you know every time we can access. So uh, to avoid that situation, we can create temporary credentials, like so they can access our environment temporarily. The scenario is like we will be creating the user and adding to the group. Whenever not needed, we simply delete that user. That's all. So no need to delete the password, credentials, username, all these things. Just simply will be deleting the username. So there will be a flexible security credential management through IAM. We can assign a range of security credentials, including passwords, key pairs, X509 certificates, and we can also this have MFA, and so these type of security credential management are there. Like we can opt either for certificate or for key or for username password or for MFA. So these type of flexibility is there, and we can have external identity systems also. Like we can use IAM to grant our employees and application access to AWS management, AWS environment, and AWS also supports the federation from corporate systems like Microsoft Active Directory or Sun Directory server, or web identity provider, or Google account, or Facebook. If you have any of the accounts if you have accounts in any of them, you can simply federate to our AWS environment by using the credentials of them. And we can have the best integration system to AWS services. So if you opt for the service whatever, like for example you have S3 or you have RDS, already IAM will service will be embedded to it, and no need to go and modify the configuration file and integrate it. Nothing that all funda is not there. Simply you can directly go with the IAM configuration without having the configuring of that particular service. So here I have explained bit of MFA, how MFA is working. Like with MFA enabled, first of all we will be uh, given a form. By means of it, we will be having our MFA enabled. So with MFA enabled, when a user signs into AWS environment, they will be prompted for their username and password. That is the first factor. Generally people do. And as well as for authentication code from their AWS MFA device. That is the second factor. So taken together, these multiple factors provide increased security for our AWS environment. So the device will be sent by the AWS, and we can have this AWS account for individual IAM users, or for a group. This MFA device can be utilized. After we have obtained a supported hardware or virtual MFA device, AWS does not charge any additional fees for using MFA. They will be charging only MFA device cost. So that is what you keep in mind, that IAM is totally free, 100% free. But that also tricky. I am going to discuss that also. How this and all I have given, and manage users security credentials. How it will be like IAM lets us manage several types of long-term security credentials for IAM users. So we have passwords used to sign into secure AWS pages such as AWS Management Console or discussion forums or premium support site. And we have keys and key pairs. So you might have thinking like where these credentials will be stored. These credentials within the environment like S3 or something, and they will be stored in encrypted manner, and it will be encrypted manner. And whenever you are giving like that will be matched. And in addition to managing these user credentials, we can further enhance the security by having MFA. So what are the security credentials that we opted opt for temporary purposes. So this IAM lets us grant any user temporary security credentials, which we have discussed just now. So by defining expiration time for access to our AWS resources. Okay, you just sign in with your credentials and you provide the expiration time, 1 week, 1 hour, or 10 days something, and after 10 days automatically that user will be deleted instead of manually deleting. Something we have, creating a mobile app with third party sign in and creating a mobile app with custom authentication using our organization's authentication system to grant access to AWS resources and for single sign-on purposes. These generally we use temporary security credentials. You just go through them, and we can manage permissions and policies. Permissions let us to specify who has access to AWS resources and which actions they can perform on those resources. And every AWS IAM user starts with no permissions. In other words, by default, user can do nothing, not even view their own access keys. To give a user permission to do something, we can add the permission to the user, like we attach the policy that we need to have, like desired permission that we attach. That user can view which we have, view the environment which we have attached. So we have the permissions for a user group, role or resource. So we have actions, resources, to which resource we have to access and to which action to be taken, like read, write, like that, and effect. So whether to allow or deny access, these three, and condition. So generally we have these options whenever we create roles to it. So this federation, how we will be doing, identity federation is enabled by requesting temporary security credentials from the AWS Security Token Service, STS. So these credentials can be used to log into the console to make API requests, and temporary security credential consists of short-lived access key IDs and secret access key and session token. So as with any AWS API request, these federated users can sign into this AWS environment by means of this access key ID and secret access key. However, federated users must also pass the session token. There is no limit on the number of temporary security credentials that can be issued. So these are all the internal processes, and how federation will be done internally, that I have given over here. So we have IAM roles is nothing but a policy. So these roles allow us to delegate access to our users or services, and IAM users or AWS services can have a role to obtain either security credentials temporarily or for a permanent purposes. And in what scenarios we'll be having all this in, I just discussed over here, and how we manage users by means of groups that I have discussed over here. And we have what are the use cases I have discussed over here. We will be discussing in clear cut manner now. So I have given an example over here. So how to administer this and all I have given. You just go through this. I'm going to provide in a document form in clear cut manner. And how to access this IAM through management console I can have, and command line tools also. And we have software development kits. By means of that we can access, that consists of libraries and sample code for various programming languages and platforms like Java, Python, Ruby, .NET, everything. So the SDKs provide a convenient way to create a programmatic access to IAM and AWS environments. So what exactly this is, like we have NetBeans and kind of a Java environment interactive tools, right? The same way we have SDKs which we can access AWS environments through IAM. We have secured HTTP API also through which we can access. So mostly in browser cases we have it. So this is what IAM is, and let us have a quick look of what we are going to do with IAM. So first of all, IAM is nothing but what IAM is. IAM is nothing but it is a secured one. Security we will be providing for AWS, and how we provide the security. So in explanation manner we will be discussing IAM is to provide is a service in AWS to provide security. How it is providing the security? By authentication and authorization. So how authentication and authorization is being done? So this authentication and authorization is being done by means of either security credentials or keys or certificates or federation, through federation purposes, like which we have discussed just now. So it does mean that IAM controls the access to whom? To AWS resources. So IAM controls the access by means of authentication and authorization to the AWS resources. To the AWS resources. So in this, each user will be having, we maintain users, and each user will be having a separate key that we call it as security key. So if at all you want to restrict the user, you will be restricting the key. Okay. So, and another scenario is like IAM mainly focuses on the work rather than the persons. Like it won't directly focus on users, but they will be restricting the actions the users performing. So these access can be minimized either by temporary purposes or permanent purposes that we have seen in our PPT. So it can be permanent or short term by giving the expiration time for 2 weeks or 2 months. We can have that user credentials in the AWS environment stored, and it will be matched whenever you are accessing. So what exactly it is? So in the form of this, we will be maintaining the users, and if bunch of users are more, we will be assigning them to groups. It does mean that indirectly we are maintaining the groups also. So why this type of scenarios? The first and foremost scenario is centralized resource control will be there. So what are the benefits of it? Like the benefits are nothing but the first one is centralized resource control. For example, I am an administrator. Let me open MS Paint. For example, I am an administrator. I have created the user. So this is the user. Let us assume. So I have created so many users. I am trying to explain you. So why we are having this thing. So once we have users, this user wants to access S3, and this user wants to have total permissions to EC2, and this user RDS, let us assume, and this user have want to have the total permissions of CloudWatch, can create alarms and all. So what I'll be doing, like for each user, I can assign a role for their needs. By assigning roles or policies to individual user, so we can manage all the users from a single point, that we call it as centralized resource control. The second point is, if users are not, if user does not want that role, either more access or less access, we can revoke. So no need to create the username, password, all the things again. You simply change the policy. That we call it as revocable accounts. So another benefit is revocable accounts. And let us assume that you have, this is administrator which we have discussed now, right? Let us assume that this is for DevOps environment. Like that, in the project 150 groups will be there. So 150 administrators will be there. For each administrator, 10 to 20 users will be, developers will be there. 10 to 20 testers, 10 to 20 admins. So to maintain that, what we will be having, we will be creating the admins and we will be creating users, assigning them to groups and assigning policies to that. So maintaining is easy, so that we have a planned hierarchy, that we call it as organized hierarchy, can be possible by means of uh, hierarchy by means of this IAM. And let us assume that you need to have access to all the users which are there in testing environment by means of certificate. So testers won't directly, give user credentials and access keys or something, or device code to access it. They want directly, want to access directly to our environment. What we will be doing? Like, we will be giving a certificates to them. Accessing them, they will be accessing our environment. So to some other group, we will be giving access keys, security keys, and to some other we will be having, for extreme secured people, we give MFA. So like that, we can have a access control at a centralized level, that we call it as fine-grained access control. So that we have through IAM. And whenever you have IAM, by default security will be enabled. By default, security will be enabled. So this is what the benefits of IAM. So these are the benefits. If you have IAM, automatically these are the benefits you have. Either you choose or not. If you have the options, that will be fine. And just now in PPT we have discussed how to access, how to log in to AWS console. So we have generally, if you type, you will be having a master account, actually AWS, not Amazon. It leads to master account. So when you create IAM account will be there. This is the master account, and if you click on this, this will be leading to master account page where you can give username and password. So if at all you have identity and access management enabled, or if you have MFA, the links are here, right? See here. So if you directly have this one, link will be provided, that we call it as IAM account page. So this IAM account page supports MFA and security token service also will be available, that we call it as STS. So for expiring access to AWS resources, is nothing but for temporary purposes. Okay, that is one thing that you need to remember. And another thing is the pricing part. I said it is free, but not totally free. Let us see. This is 100% free, but for 5,000 IAM accounts, it is free. and for 250 roles it is free. And security tokens, if at all you are using 5 to 36, I mean to say 15 to 36 hours, if at all you are using SGS, that is free. So it is free, but in limited manner. If you are using 5001 account, they start charging you. So how it works? IAM will be working, based on the users and groups and roles or policies. So we mainly works with users and groups and roles. So what we will be doing, we simply create users, add to the groups, or we simply create groups and as you add users to it, and we'll assign the roles or policies to the groups. Whenever you assign roles or policies to the groups, whoever are there within the group will be applied with the same role or policy. So that we do generally. So we have some IAM policies or roles. We have several options to have it. So the first and foremost thing is, by means of JSON documents we can have JSON documents. So JSON, what exactly JSON is? We will be having a code like that we can see, whenever we create all the things like the security options will be given in the format of code. If you give that document to our IAM environment will be reading that and assigning the security according to that. And there is another scenario, policy generator. This policy generator is also available. So if at all you want to create your own policy, we can configure. So within the policy, we can configure either we can configure the information of IP address and date, time of that particular day, and whatever the protocol that you want to access. And we have a policy that is customized. It is nothing but you can have your own policy that has been described in a file. That file will be attaching to AWS environment. That is customized policy. Another scenario, AWS itself is giving some of the policies. Those we call it as managed policies. Apart from it, you can have user defined policies, like you can have through the console itself. So AWS console policies are also there. So generally we'll be having the policies in different ways, and using those policies we will be configuring the IAM to groups and users. So we will be configuring IAM. Just now we have seen PPT for the users and groups. So who to config? We will be configuring IAM to users and groups, and users and resources or services that are there within the AWS. And we have policies or federated users we can config, like Facebook account. If you have, you can access AWS environment. We have MFA, we have roles or policies through which we will be accessing. So what exactly IAM role we discussed, how we do these policies. First we'll be creating IAM role, and after that we'll create IAM instance profile, and we'll be launching that instance with the use of IAM instance profile. It's very simple. By means of subject we are discussing so much, But having this is very simple, very simple. Just create a group, add user to it, and assign role to it. So let us have a try. So it has been years, having access IAM. Let us have a try. I have IAM. I am directly going for IAM. Our first goal is to create group, right? So we have user 0, group 0, roles 0, identity provider 0. So what I am doing, I am just going for the groups. I don't have any group, so I am creating a new group, new DevOps group or DevOps. My group name is DevOps. Click on next step. So whenever you are creating the group, which policy? So please remember, we can have. I'm sorry, we can attach almost 10 policies, and these policies are these are all the policies that has been done by the what AWS and people. Okay, so I am giving administrator access, total control. If at all you want, you can authentication full access, everything you can. What we will be doing, like you assign some, when you want to have only. So I am accessing EC2 full access. Just have full access and create group. So once you create group, you can edit the policies afterwards also. Within the group, you don't have any users. Okay, what is inline policy? The users policy. So I am just going for the users. Next step, first step, I created groups and assigned party policy to it, and I am creating user. So I don't have any user, right or not? Add user. So I am providing the username like Ram, and access type programmatic access or AWS management console access, auto generated password or custom password. I just want custom password. The password is like I am giving like test 1 2 3, and the user must create a new password at next sign in. No, if you want it, you can. And next, permissions. So this user to group, we have to add. So what we are doing, we have only one group which has full access to EC2. I am just selecting it. It does mean that RAM is having RAM will be adding to the DevOps group. Next, review. So username is RAM, and access is management console with a password. Console password type custom, and required password reset no, and group name is DevOps. Now create user. So while creation of the user, we have attached to the group. Now we have roles, which we have. You can create your own role. Okay. So the service role has been already been for this. You can have it already. Since I have already utilized it, I'm not going for the policy. In this policy section, what you can have, you will be creating your own policy also. That also you can have. So I just created group and created user, added to the group. When I am there, creating the group, so it has been a role has been assigned to it. So you have IAM user sign in link. When you create that in dashboard, you will be having. So this you have to copy it, Control C, and or you can simply copy link, and you have this one, press enter. So username is Ram, right? RAM. Password is test123. This Ram can access what? He can access the service of EC2 only. So what I am doing, I am trying to access S3. Let us see what happens. Let us see. Full access, I think, because group is having full access. Only EC2. See here, access is denied. Okay, what I'll be doing, I'll be going with some kind of ODS. So I just want to have instances. See here. So it is providing RAM is not authorized to perform it. So what RAM can be doing here now? Only EC2. Can he create the instance? Yes, he can. So we have one running instances and I just want to create launch instance. Yes, you can. So this is what the IAM is. Hope you understood. And if any doubts, you just let me